The sun dips below the horizon, casting a blood-red glow over the borderlands. The railway stretches endlessly across the arid desert, once a vital artery for trade, but now a lifeline for something far more sinister. For years, the railway connecting the US and Mexico was a symbol of progress, a bridge between two nations. Now, it is under the grip of Los Fantasmas, a ruthless cartel faction that turned the railway into a smuggling corridor for drugs, weapons, and human cargo. Local law enforcement stands paralyzed, some out of fear, others because they've been bought. Those who resist disappear, their bodies turning up miles away as grim warnings. Border Patrol officers who try to intervene are met with ambushes or brutal executions. The cartel's power extends like a shadow over everything, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Local law enforcement stands paralyzed, some out of fear, others because they've been bought. Those who dare to resist don't last long. The lucky ones are merely threatened, their families receiving ominous visits in the dead of night. The unlucky ones, they vanish without a trace, only for their bodies to resurface days later, dumped in ravines, hanging from overpasses, or buried in shallow desert graves. Each one serves as a grisly warning: stay out of cartel business. The few honest officers left struggle against a force far greater than themselves. Corruption runs deep, infecting departments from the inside. Commanders look the other way. Detectives close cases before they're opened, and judges dismiss charges as if the evidence never existed. The message is clear: the law does not rule here. The cartel does. At the border, the situation is even worse. Patrol officers who attempt to interfere with cartel operations find themselves hunted. Ambushes are frequent, roadside IEDs, sniper attacks from unseen assailants, or entire squads simply disappearing during routine inspections. Those who survive these encounters rarely speak out, knowing that retaliation isn't just a possibility, it's a certainty. Some quit, unable to stomach the overwhelming corruption. Others stay, hoping against hope that someone will rise to challenge the darkness. Meanwhile, the cartel's influence stretches beyond fear and violence. They've infiltrated the very infrastructure meant to stop them: security checkpoints, border stations, shipping yards. Bribes flow like water, making sure that the right eyes stay shut at the right time. If a shipment needs to pass through, it does. If a threat needs to be eliminated, it is. No questions, no hesitation. And in the shadows, the people suffer. Local villagers, railway workers, struggling families, trapped in a world where the cartel's rule is absolute. They whisper prayers at night, hoping their sons won't be forced into the cartel's ranks, that their daughters won't be taken, that their homes won't be burned for a crime as small as speaking out. But hope is a fragile thing here, snuffed out as easily as a candle in the wind. The cartel's power is not just about control, it's about terror. And as long as the world looks away, that terror will continue to spread, unchecked and unchallenged. But something bigger is at play. Intelligence reports whisper of a new shipment moving through the railway, something that has the cartel acting with more caution than ever before. It's not just drugs this time. It's something far deadlier. In a dimly lit office in Washington, D.C., a name resurfaces, a name that once sent shockwaves through the most dangerous battlefields in the world. Colonel James Carter, a retired Delta Force commander. Carter thought he was done with war. He had seen enough. lost enough. But when an old friend in US intelligence reaches out with an urgent mission, he knows he can't turn away. Carter was the best of the best, leading black ops missions that never made it to the news. He walked away from that life years ago, trying to find peace. But some wars never end, and some men are born for battle. This mission, it's personal. He knows what's at stake, and he knows there's only one team that can get the job done. The Delta Unit, codename Ghost Vipers, handpicked by Carter himself. These men are more than elite soldiers. They're ghosts, operating in the shadows where conventional forces cannot go. Sergeant Logan Pierce, the team's sniper, an expert in guerrilla warfare. Cold, methodical, and patient, Pierce can take out a target from over a mile away without breaking a sweat. But his past missions have left scars, both seen and unseen. Lieutenant Marcus Kane, a tactical specialist and demolitions expert. Kane believes in solving problems with overwhelming force. His reputation for destruction is legendary, and his loyalty to Carter is unwavering. Captain Alex Rivers, a master of close-quarters combat and intelligence gathering. Rivers is the quiet but lethal type. He doesn't speak much, but when he does, people listen, right before they hit the ground. Sergeant Rico Torres, fluent in Spanish, a master of deception, and a former cartel infiltrator. Torres knows how the enemy thinks. He grew up in their world, survived their brutality, and now he's their worst nightmare. Together, they are the Ghost Vipers, a team built for impossible missions. Felipe El Fantasma Morales, the untouchable kingpin. The world knows little about him. No arrests, no digital footprint, no traceable assets. Felipe Morales is a ghost, a myth whispered in fear. His name is synonymous with death. His cartels reach stretching beyond borders. It was Morales who seized control of the railway. His soldiers, ruthless killers trained in torture and psychological warfare, enforce his rule with an iron grip. Those who oppose him meet grisly fates. Railway workers who refuse to cooperate are found hanging from bridges. Entire villages have been wiped out, replaced with cartel loyalists. Even corrupt politicians and police who no longer serve his interests vanish without a trace. But Morales has bigger ambitions. The railway was just the beginning. Now, he's smuggling something far more dangerous, something the US government cannot allow to reach its destination. But Morales has bigger ambitions. The railway was just the beginning. The drugs, the weapons, the human trafficking, it was all a means to an end. Control, expansion, domination. He isn't content with ruling a single corridor of the border. He wants more. Cities, ports, political influence. And now, he's smuggling something far more dangerous than ever before, something that could tip the scales of power in ways the world isn't ready for. The shipment is unlike anything the cartel has moved before. It's not just another load of narcotics or crates of military-grade firearms. It's a bioweapon, a synthetic virus, engineered in a rogue lab, capable of mass devastation if released in a major population center. The origins of the weapon remain murky. Some whisper it was stolen from a black market arms dealer in Eastern Europe. Others claim it was developed under the watchful eye of a disgraced scientist looking for the highest bidder. Whatever the truth may be, one fact remains clear. If it crosses the border, millions could die. The US government cannot allow it to reach its destination. The The stakes have never been higher. If Morales succeeds, the repercussions won't just be felt at the border. Entire cities could be locked down. Economies could collapse. Nations could be plunged into chaos. And worst of all, nobody knows exactly who the buyer is. Is it a terrorist faction looking for a weapon of mass destruction? A rogue state hoping to use it as leverage? Or is there a deeper conspiracy at play, one that goes far beyond the cartel itself? One thing is certain: time is running out. The shipment is on the move, and once it vanishes into Morales's labyrinth of smuggling routes, finding it will be nearly impossible. The US government has only one option left: a black ops mission. Off the books. No backup. No margin for error. And there's only one team for the job. A coded transmission intercepted by US intelligence confirms their worst fears. A deadly bioweapon is being transported via the cartel's railway. The buyer is unknown, but the consequences are clear. If it crosses into enemy hands, it could be catastrophic. Standard military intervention is off the table. This mission must be handled in the dark. There will be no reinforcements, no official records. Failure is not an option. Carter doesn't hesitate. He assembles his team, briefing them on one final mission, a mission that could decide the fate of thousands, if not millions. The objective: infiltrate cartel territory, locate and intercept the bioweapon shipment before it crosses the border, eliminate Felipe Morales and dismantle his operation for good. The clock is ticking. The Ghost Vipers go in tonight. The Ghost Vipers move silently, setting up in a makeshift safe house just outside cartel-controlled territory. It's an abandoned ranch, far from prying eyes, chosen for its strategic location, close enough to monitor cartel activity, but remote enough to avoid unwanted attention. Inside, maps cover the walls. A whiteboard is filled with supply routes, enemy strongholds, and possible infiltration points. Every movement along the railway is analyzed. Each night, the team conducts covert recon ops, tracking cartel supply movements and identifying weak points in their operations. They study the guard rotations, vehicle convoys, and hidden pathways leading into the cartel's stronghold. Logan Pierce scopes the railway from a vantage point miles away, mapping out sniper nests and surveillance spots. Marcus Kane plants listening devices near cartel checkpoints, capturing key conversations about incoming shipments. Alex Rivers sneaks into a cartel-run bar, blending in with the locals, picking up whispers of increased security and an impending major deal. The team's most valuable asset is Agent Daniel Reyes, a former DEA agent turned cartel informant. Deep undercover for years, Reyes has earned the trust of key cartel figures, but his cover is hanging by a thread, through encrypted channels. He delivers a chilling message to Carter. El Fantasma knows something is coming. He's moving the shipment sooner than expected. They've set up a decoy train. If you hit the wrong one, the real cargo will be gone forever. Reyes provides coordinates for a key meeting, a chance to confirm which train carries the bioweapon. But there's a problem. The meeting is inside a cartel safe house, deep in hostile territory. The Ghost Vipers know one thing: they must remain undetected. The cartel's lookouts patrol 24/7, their eyes everywhere. Young boys with radios and burner phones sit on rooftops, reporting every movement. Any stranger in the area is marked for interrogation or execution. Carter and his men move like ghosts, slipping through the night. But even ghosts can be hunted. An unauthorized DEA strike team attempts to take down a small cartel checkpoint, hoping to make a dent in their operations. It's a disaster. Within hours, the DEA agents are ambushed, captured, and executed live on cartel-run streams. Their bodies are hung from a bridge, a brutal warning to anyone who dares interfere. Carter watches the footage in silence. The message is clear. We see everything. We own this land. And we are untouchable. But Carter knows better. No one is untouchable. Under the cover of darkness, Rico Torres arranges a meeting with an old cartel contact, a mid-level enforcer who might know which train is the real target. The rendezvous point is a deserted gas station, a place where deals happen in whispers and betrayals happen in silence. Torres approaches the informant, speaking in the cartel's own coded language. But something is off. The informant is visibly shaken, eyes darting nervously. Before he can speak, a gunshot rips through his skull, a sniper's bullet. It's a setup. Torres dives for cover, bullets tearing through the station. Marcus Kane and Alex Rivers, waiting nearby, return fire. A violent gunfight erupts. With seconds to escape, Torres tosses a flashbang, disorienting the cartel's men. The team extracts him just in time, but the message is clear. El Fantasma knows someone is after him. And now, he's hunting them too. Security tightens. El Fantasma's paranoia grows by the hour. He orders extra guards on all railway checkpoints, drones patrolling the tracks, random vehicle searches on every road leading into the cartel's stronghold. The window for a stealth operation is rapidly closing. A family held hostage as part of a new crackdown. The cartel kidnaps an innocent family, a railway worker's wife and children, accusing them of leaking information. Their fate is broadcast on cartel-run social media. A grisly warning: whoever is helping the Americans, your families will pay the price. Reyes sends an urgent message: if you don't move now, more innocent people will die. Carter and his men are out of time. The shipment is moving in less than 24 hours. The original plan was to wait for the perfect moment, strike when least expected. But now, they can't afford to wait. They must go in early, before the bioweapon vanishes into the hands of terrorists. With no backup and no second chances, the Ghost Vipers prepare for war. The Ghost Vipers move in absolute silence, shadows slipping through the darkness. Their target, the cartel-controlled railway yard, where the bioweapon shipment is being prepped for transport. Every second matters. Silent takedowns. Sergeant Logan Pierce positions himself atop a nearby watchtower, his suppressed sniper rifle lined up. One by one, cartel snipers drop. Silent, clean kills. Lieutenant Marcus Kane sneaks into an electrical substation, planting C4 charges on key transformers. One button press will plunge the entire yard into darkness. Alex Rivers and Rico Torres take out the gate guards, using knives and silenced pistols. No alarms. No alerts. They move in, swift and deadly, securing the entrance with the outer perimeter clear. Carter signals. Phase 2. Kane detonates the explosives. Sparks fly. Transformers explode, and the entire rail yard plunges into blackness. The cartel's guards panic, scrambling for flashlights and radios. In the confusion, the Ghost Vipers breach the facility. The mission is going perfectly, until everything goes wrong. Just as Carter's team breaches the train yard, the night erupts with gunfire. Cartel reinforcements flood in from hidden tunnels, dozens of armed men, weapons blazing. Pierce takes cover, returning fire with deadly precision. His shots tear through Cartel soldiers, but the enemy just keeps coming. Kane and Rivers flank left, tossing grenades into fuel depots. Explosions rip through the yard, sending shrapnel flying. It's chaos, a full-scale war in the middle of the desert. Rico's deadly face-off amidst the mayhem. Rico Torres comes face-to-face with his past cartel enforcers. He once called brothers. One of them, Diego Salazar, steps forward. "Rico, you should have stayed gone. I came back to finish what I started." A brutal fight breaks out. Rico versus his former crew. He dodges a knife slash, counters with a gunshot to the chest. Another cartel soldier lunges, but Rico grabs his wrist, snaps it, and fires point-blank. Salazar, wounded but alive, pulls a grenade. Rico lunges, wrestling for control. The grenade pin already pulled. A struggle. A second of silence. Boom! The explosion engulfs Salazar, throwing Rico clear. Burned, bleeding, but alive. In the chaos, El Fantasma vanishes. But Carter knows exactly where to find him. Tracking the ghost, Carter moves through the shadows, following a hidden tunnel beneath the yard. He emerges in a concealed control bunker, a lavish hideout lined with surveillance monitors, weapons, and escape routes. And there he is, El Fantasma. The final fight, the two men lock eyes. Carter, "It's over." El Fantasma, "You think killing me will stop this? Someone worse will take my place." The cartel leader lunges, a machete flashing in the dim light. Carter sidesteps, counters with a brutal elbow strike to the jaw. El Fantasma grabs a hidden pistol, firing wildly. Carter ducks, rolls, disarms him in seconds. The fight turns hand-to-hand, a brutal clash of military skill versus street-bred ruthlessness. Carter blocks, counters, strikes, but El Fantasma is fast, relentless. He lands a slash across Carter's shoulder, drawing blood. But Carter isn't here to lose. With one final move, he drives a combat knife deep into El Fantasma's chest. The cartel leader staggers, choking, collapsing to his knees. He looks up at Carter. Disbelief, rage, fear, and then nothing. Justice is served. As the ghost vipers regroup, explosions consume the train yard, wiping out every trace of the cartel's bioweapon operation. Their mission is over, but the war is far from finished. The aftermath is pure devastation. The once thriving cartel stronghold is nothing more than smoldering wreckage, train cars reduced to twisted metal, shipping containers blown apart, and bodies of cartel enforcers littering the ground. The cartel's power collapses in an instant, with El Fantasma dead. His lieutenants scatter, leaderless and terrified. Some try to flee into the desert, only to be picked off by U.S. drones circling above. Others, wounded and broken, drop their weapons and surrender to the advancing Mexican federal forces, who finally dare to move in after years of submission. Those who resist, they meet the same fate as their fallen leader. The bioweapon shipment, The very reason for this mission lies in ruins, either obliterated in the explosions or recovered by Carter's team for U.S. intelligence. Whatever it was meant for, it won't be used against innocent lives. But as the first hints of dawn break over the blood-stained battlefield, the ghost vipers are already gone. Slipping into the shadows, the mission was never about recognition. No medals, no press coverage, no names in history books. As blacked-out helicopters descend to retrieve them, Carter and his men fade into the night, leaving behind only whispers of their presence. Victory always comes at a price. Back at a secure location, the team gathers, exhausted, bloodied, and silent. Rico Torres, despite his wounds, sits in the corner, staring at the floor. He faced his past and barely survived. Was it revenge? Redemption? He doesn't know. Sergeant Logan Pierce meticulously cleans his sniper rifle, but his hands shake, a subtle sign that even the most unshakable warriors carry scars. Lieutenant Marcus Kane, the demolition expert, watches the sunrise. He's seen countless missions, countless wars, but something about this one lingers in his mind. Alex Rivers, usually the first to crack a joke, remains uncharacteristically quiet. The mission is over, but the weight of it isn't. And then there's Colonel James Carter. He stands at the edge of the safe house balcony, staring into the distance. The cartel has been crushed. The villagers are free. The border is safer. But was it worth it? Was another mission, another battle in the never-ending war against monsters, truly a victory, or just a delay before the next evil rises? He exhales slowly. He already knows the answer. With a final glance at his team, his brothers, he steps back into the shadows. Because men like him don't retire. They just wait for the next fight. The desert wind howls through the ruins of the train yard, carrying the scent of blood and smoke into the night. The battlefield is silent now, except for the distant hum of approaching vehicles. A lone figure stands atop a ridge, hidden in the darkness, watching. His sharp eyes scan the wreckage below, the lifeless cartel enforcers, the burning remains of their empire. He takes a slow, deliberate breath, exhaling through clenched teeth. He expected this. The fall of El Fantasma was inevitable. He was reckless. He got comfortable. He forgot the golden rule. Power is only power if you know how to keep it. The fall of El Fantasma was inevitable. He was reckless. He got comfortable. He expanded too fast, made too many enemies, and believed his own legend. He forgot the golden rule. Power is only power if you know how to keep it. 4 years. Felipe El Fantasma. Morales operated like a ghost. His name whispered in fear, but never spoken too loudly. He was untouchable. Every attempt to capture or kill him ended in failure. Witnesses vanished. Evidence disappeared. And those who dared to challenge him were found in shallow graves along the railway. His cartel had grown from a small trafficking operation into a multinational empire, controlling not just drugs and weapons, but entire towns, corrupt officials, and a vast underground network that stretched across borders. But power breeds arrogance, and arrogance breeds mistakes. El Fantasma made his first mistake when he underestimated the resilience of the people he terrorized. The villagers who once cowered in fear began whispering of rebellion. The corrupt officers who served him started considering the risk of staying loyal. and his own men, many of them once driven by loyalty or fear, started asking a dangerous question. Was he still the invincible king they believed him to be? His second mistake was trusting the wrong people. When you're at the top, betrayal is inevitable. Greed festers. Ambition grows. The moment cracks appear in the foundation, the vultures start circling. Morales never saw it coming. How could he? He thought himself above it all. But in the end, even ghosts can bleed. And his final mistake. He got too comfortable. He believed he was invincible, that no one could touch him, that his network, his wealth, his reputation would protect him forever. He thought himself too feared, too powerful, too deeply embedded in the system to ever fall. But power is not eternal. The moment you stop watching your back, the moment you take your grip off the throne, someone else is already reaching for the crown. The night the Delta team came for him, Morales was sitting in his fortified bunker, surrounded by bodyguards, convinced that even if an attack came, he was untouchable. He had contingency plans, escape routes, hired mercenaries ready to die for him. But none of it mattered, because his enemies weren't coming for negotiations. They weren't coming to send a message. They weren't coming to cut a deal. They were coming to end him. And now, a void has opened. From the shadows, he pulls out a satellite phone, dialing a secure number. A voice on the other end answers, calm and calculating. It's done, the man says, his gaze still fixed on the scene below. A pause. Then, the response. Then it begins. The call ends. The figure tucks the phone away, turns, and disappears into the darkness. Because while one war has ended, another is about to begin.